Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the podcast. We're your host. I'm Alex.
And I'm Brandon.
And together we are
the Insightful
Morons. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to podcast episode 2. How are you doing today, Brandon?
I'm doing good. How are you, Alex?
I'm doing all right, I have to say. You know,
I'm not sleep deprived this time.
I mean, I am, but you know.
Oh yeah, so it's just like polar opposites this time.
I guess so. Yeah,
that makes sense.
It always makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, podcast episode 1 did decently well.
Yeah.
Way better than we expected.
It definitely exceeded my expectations. Wasn't expecting 50 views in like not even, I don't know, an hour.
By
Pretty
the
much,
end of the day, it was
pretty much by
uploaded.
the end of the day. Yeah.
And then I went through and uploaded that to Anchor, so that means that we're now on Spotify.
Fuck yeah.
Hopefully coming to Apple Podcasts, which would be sick as fuck. So, let me tell you, man.
Entertainment.
We also got a sponsor. We got sponsored by Anchor. You might have heard that at the beginning of this if you're listening on Spotify. So, yeah, man, it's exciting to be doing this.
It's very exciting. I'm looking forward to, doing that. I think it's cool that we'll make, like, how much cents each view? Like
1.5 cents per view.
Not so bad.
Not
so
terrible.
bad. Not
Gotta
terrible.
say.
Not terrible. It's better than nothing.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure, my guy. Now, there's a few other issues with setting that up, but I'll get it figured out. Welcome to podcasting.
Welcome to podcasting. That's
Welcome to
cool.
podcasting.
That's cool that Anchor has that all set up for us.
So, what are we going to talk about today?
Like we were kind of talking about earlier, I think we should get into, the world news right now.
World news. Did you hear about what the CDC warned with the coronavirus?
I think everybody heard about that, man.
They're warning the U.S. citizens now.
Yeah.
Shit's sketch.
China is on, like, I think the highest rating of like a country not to go to in the U.S. Right now, just due to the diseases. I mean, that makes perfect sense, but
well,
it's pretty scary what's going on.
I was reading earlier that their strategy for trying to keep it in that part of China, it's not 100% effective, but it's definitely slowing things down, which is nice.
Well, it's obviously not 100% effective because one of their other strategies is trying to withhold information from the general public and actually letting the entire world know how many people are infected.
That's just China for
And they're also going after journalists. Chinese journalists are disappearing left and right from Wuhan.
Of course.
Yep, good old fucking communism. Everybody loves it. I just think it's kind of crazy because they don't have it under control as much as they're saying. You know what I mean? Like, there's already 81,296 deaths. Or no, sorry. I said that. That's 81,296 people infected, and there's 2,770 deaths. That's still, that's not good at all. Yeah, that's quite a few. And that's just the numbers that is estimated.
And, well, it seems like there may soon be a vaccine, which is nice.
Yeah,
This company named Moderna or something like that, they just sent out their vaccine candidate. So they just sent it out to, like, the test markets and stuff. Not the test markets. You can't, like, buy it at CVS.
Yeah, obviously not. It's a brand new disease.
But the cool thing about the stock, though, is in the past day, the U.S. stock market has wiped out $1.7 trillion just because of the coronavirus's impact. Because people are freaking out. They're selling all their stocks, and that's where it gets them.
Makes sense.
But the funny part is, the company that's making the vaccine went up $10 in 2 days, which isn't a lot, but it's a $28 stock. So it went up about almost like half. So
like that guy who raised the HIV. Yeah.
So. Yeah, that stock's soaring. The company is making the vaccine, obviously. They're like, hey, I'm going to sell out of all of my Fortune 500 companies and buy this little stock who's producing a vaccine.
Still don't think that's good enough compared to what's happening right now. I think it's because, the U.S. is planning to spend $675 million just for a response plan to China withholding information and the disease itself. France, the number one visited country, has lost 40% of its fucking tourists. 18 infected in France. So, I don't know, the whole world's on edge. Every continent in the world has been touched by coronavirus except for Antarctica. And that's been confirmed.
Just reported the first death
from the coronavirus. I'm pretty sure there was a death,
It's insane.
And the China tech industry is at severe risk. I mean, they're going to be fine-ish, but right now they're dealing with a lot of risk.
Well, I read something earlier that like 60 million people have been forced to work from home, but it's been so effective that a lot of
Yeah,
companies just like,
but
hey,
that's
this
different
works.
though. Like tech
Yeah.
companies are having like, extreme issues like with mass production. But like those like people who can just go home and work, that's actually working out really well.
Well, even the vaping industry took a hit from this.
Yeah.
Hardware and all that
Yeah, all
stuff,
of it's built there.
it's
Yeah.
all built in China. 90% of it comes from China.
Tech industry, man.
So, I mean, it has its limitations on
It's
what's possible
definitely
right now.
it's definitely unsettling what's going on in the world. It's even more unsettling that the country that's dealing with it, and the main country, mind you, is a country that, like I said, withholds information. That's what
Yeah.
worries me, because we don't actually know the full premises of what's going on.
Well, we all know what the
And so,
Chinese government's
you know,
like.
yeah. So people out there, wash your hands with alcohol-based soap if you have it, because that's what kills the actual disease, and avoid touching your face. If you have, pneumonia symptoms, I would get checked immediately.
I mean, if you have
I
pneumonia,
would
just go
not
to the
risk it.
hospital.
Yeah,
Like,
if you
just
have
like,
any,
I have fucking coronavirus.
well, that's how it starts. It starts with like pneumonia
Yeah.
and pneumatic like symptoms, and I feel like a lot of people nowadays, especially in the U.S., I know we don't wear like face masks like they do in the South Pacific and stuff like that. So I feel like we have a lot higher risk of it spreading faster if it, actually did start to spread here.
And then they did a study in it. It developed an AIDS-like ability to
Oh, man.
connect to the human cells, and it's 10,000 times better at connecting to human cells than the SARS virus.
Which is the same thing that started in China.
Right. It's still
just-
it's
yeah.
still part of the corona family, but because the coronavirus is just a very broad
Nothing-
term, but everybody knows what we're talking about when we say the coronavirus.
Look.
We could say COVID-19.
Yeah. Look, I mean, this isn't a shit on China. I think China is a beautiful country, but look. I mean, it's plain and simple. The Wuhan thing started. Wuhan's a giant wet market. They eat literally everything. And when I mean everything, I mean like any living thing, they will sell on the market. I mean, you saw that video of that guy. I don't want to go into too much depth of that guy butchering a freaking cat in the middle of Wuhan.
Skinning a cat.
In Wuhan.
In Wuhan.
This was yesterday. That shit was posted, and I was like, oh, okay. But no, like, that's exactly why. It's because people, one, there's like thousands of different species of animals there being cut up alive right next to each other. Two, it actually did originate, like, what they believe from the bat soup that they were selling to
Right.
people. And with that, I mean, they're hanging just dead bodies of animal carcasses, and it spreads through the air. So it's like
No
super
bueno.
dangerous. Yeah,
No
no bueno.
bueno.
And this has been happening for years. All these diseases come out of usually wet markets like that.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely terrifying that they'll just casually eat whatever like that. That's what freaks me the fuck out, because that's how diseases spread in the first place.
Well, that happened with an Ebola
SARS.
epidemic.
Yeah, all
People are
kinds
eating
of shit.
monkeys. Like,
Yep.
Yeah, and then that was what
There's
was
just all
spreading
kinds of
Ebola.
weird shit. Yeah, there's weird shit.
But there was also people who were like buying into misinformation.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, it's not spread by this, so they just kept eating
Yeah.
it until they got fucking Ebola. And they're like, I wonder why this happened. So,
It
if
might-
we can just like figure
Hey,
out,
it might say that
definitively-
Ebola is a cough that's 3 feet, but I would stay a lot farther than 3 feet away from someone with Ebola. There's a
Be
lot
like,
about
"You
that
stay
disease
over
that
there, Chief."
was misspread in the beginning.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I feel like I'm not like, I mean, I would say I'm worried for the world. I'm not worried that we won't be able to like recover and like find a way to like eradicate this disease, just like we did with Ebola. I mean, everybody thought Ebola was gonna end the world, but like I said, what makes this completely different and drastic, in my opinion, is the fact that the main country that's dealing with it doesn't want to be upfront about what's actually going on.
Of course.
That, to me, like I said, is just the main concern.
But it also raises the bigger question of how far can a virus get with modern medicine?
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
because
it's
like
the
we
thing.
already have a vaccine that may work.
Kind of, but like
know?
this is brand new, so it's like it's a race against intellect
Right.
and human error. To me, that shouldn't even be happening. I mean, I know it will be, due to climate change, if like with all the ice caps and etc., all those crazy things going on in the world. I don't feel like it's going to get any better unless we actually take the real precautions and, actually try to eradicate it the proper way.
See, I just don't think it's going to get as far as other plagues have gotten in the past.
Oh, no.
You know, I think
far, no.
if anything, it will be like maybe a little worse.
Yeah,
than, like,
people are
the
forgetting.
modern
It's only
flu.
81,296 people infected. I mean, obviously that number is probably rising. That's so little compared to the amount of people that are in the world. But like I said, what's concerning is that it's spreading really fast, and they're lying about the numbers, the amount of people that are infected. So we really don't know.
Another big issue with it is that some people get severe symptoms,
Yeah.
while other people get
Yeah,
very
and
moderate
then
symptoms.
get
And
out
if you
of
have
it.
moderate symptoms, you
Yeah.
think, hey, maybe I just have a cold.
But yeah,
You don't go to the
some
doctor.
people, like some people that were in Wuhan that were diagnosed full on, left in like a week after being treated,
Didn't
and
even,
some
like,
people
know.
were dying because their lungs were like collapsing because there's nothing
Exactly.
they could do.
But that's kind of the scary part, is that some
It
people
is
it's just
scary.
going to be like, hey, I have a cold, and then
You
they're
just
going to spread it
yeah,
to a
you
bunch
don't
of
know.
people.
You just really
You know,
don't
you
know.
go to work, you go to school, you know.
And that's what freaks me out about the U.S. Like I said, because we don't wear like masks. If we were wearing even those paper masks like they do in Japan, for example, they'll be like, "Oh my God, you have an extreme disease." It's like, well, no, it's called protecting yourself from spreading sickness. Like what? That's literally one of our main issues. Is that in the U.S. we spread sickness like fucking flies.
Which is a terrible idea considering the country we live in.
Yeah, like
You know?
we're the most. They say we have the best military. I mean, we have the most military base in the world. Yet we can't even keep a standard to keep ourselves cleanly enough to avoid a disease. I mean, right now, it's not happening. But I feel like if this was an outbreak here, it would spread a lot faster than in China, a place where they wear masks.
We just nuke it.
Yeah, the thing with China is that they eat every fucking thing. So it's like, they literally eat everything. I think that's the issue. With us, we'd at least not be eating, bat soup.
What, you're telling me you wouldn't want to eat some bat soup?
No, I 100%
No?
would not eat some bat soup. If you would eat some bat soup, you're a despicable human being. It probably tastes like fucking poop.
Chicken of the sky, they call it.
Chicken of the sky. I think you're just trying to make a really
Bad
cringe
reference?
joke. Yeah.
It was a bad reference to Anchorman 2.
Because chicken of the sky is the penguin. Jesus, I can't
penguin.
even talk. Just, oh my God. Yeah, see, you've already knocked me off my line, but I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
That's what I do best, man.
Hey,
That's
that's
what I
okay.
do best.
That's okay.
But speaking of food,
Speaking of food,
have you been reading up on? I saw an article earlier about salt-resistant rice.
are we getting
Or
on the
sea rice.
positive side of China now?
On the positive side. Of
Okay, yeah, no more
Eastern Europe
coronavirus and dying
Asia.
China, people. We're talking about salt rice China and salt rice in general.
Yes. So there's a UK-based company that wants to take sodium-resistant rice and put them on these big, like, floating islands, pretty much, and just grow it out in the ocean. Using just salt water. No nutrients, no soil, no fresh water, just salt water.
Which I
and
think
rice.
is totally plausible because for years, China, or not for years, but for a few years, China and India has upstarted this huge salt rice program. And in China, they have 20 million hectares of all this like unused land, which they can't use that land mass because of the salt salinity in the actual soil.
Right.
So what they're doing is they're opening up like salt water into these fields and then just turning them into rice paddy fields. And they expected to only grow or produce 4.5 tons of rice per hectare, but exceeded expectations is 9.3 tons of rice per hectare. That's enough for 200 million people. That's enough to feed basically, the world if the entire world jumped onto the salt rice program. I just think that's pretty interesting. At least they're doing something positive.
Well, they're also saying that they could inevitably bring this to other food groups as well.
Yeah,
Of
course.
They're saying they could do it with, like, spinach and stuff.
Yeah, I can see that happening because with rice, they use genetic like modification and stuff like that,
Right.
and all kinds of things, basically to get the rice to be what it wanted to be, so it can actually survive the salinity.
And that's kind of the crazy part. It's like, I think it's by 2050 we're going to be at 10 billion humans.
Yeah.
And it's estimated that we're not going to be able to produce enough food for 10 billion
Basically,
humans.
yeah.
So,
But with transgenic rice, there's more growth and you get a higher yield
well, it
than
makes
normal
sense
rice.
because
And
sodium's
yeah,
used for cellular
plus
mitosis.
because it's grown in that salt, you get extra like they were saying, you get extra nutrients, extra calcium. I think that's really important, especially when you're dealing with, a world that's ravaged by climate change and you need food. I'm not saying that's happening now, but
Right.
in the future, that would be something that would help
I mean,
us.
this could be big news for a lot of stuff.
Well, yeah, this is big
if
news.
we could start mass producing food in the sea, using seawater, because
Well-
right now we only have access to 1% of the Earth's clean water, and 70% of that gets used for agriculture. So imagine what it would mean if we could use salt water.
Well, a tenth of what, like, that's the thing, a tenth of what China, like, land, a tenth of that, of what they plan to use with that salt water, would be enough to yield 50 million tons of food, which is enough to feed more than enough people. Over time, those numbers would obviously go
Of
up.
course. But what's even crazier, right now not we, but like the world produces 700 million tons of rice.
Jeez.
That's a fuck ton of rice.
Yeah, that is an extreme amount
That's
of...
a metric fuck
Yeah,
ton.
that's
Like,
an
let me
extreme
tell
amount
you.
of rice. And even, and then China near the, east, they have a 1 million square, kilometer area of land where crops don't grow, just like I was saying. They have a lot of, regions because of the salinity, the salt. So that's going to be, a huge plus just to be able to grow that much rice. And they already have more rice than they need. So basically, they'll just be able to export that to other countries and make a huge trade deficit because of it. So it's I don't know. I think it's cool.
And I think the interesting part is that we're doing it with rice. I mean, it makes sense.
Rice.
3.5 billion people eat rice every day.
Oh,
they
yeah.
depend on rice for their food intake.
And rice, sometimes, it's healthy, and it's also, not the most healthy, depending on how you eat it, carbohydrates and everything. But with this, you'll get at least more proper nutrients than you would with your regular rice.
And I mean, it's not the first time that people have meddled in the genetics of rice.
Yeah.
Back in the 2000s, late 1990s, early 2000s,
Yeah.
they developed golden rice to deal with the world's vitamin A deficiency.
Yeah, they've been using, breeding rice together and doing transgenic mutations to create different types of rice for a long time now. But now they're actually starting to get into, the ball game of growing rice on the ocean.
Right.
It's
and
going to
that-
be nuts.
Like I said, that
Would-
just raises so many
Yeah,
more opportunities.
Towns that are, or cities, I should say, that are under duress from, tsunamis and stuff. I feel like that will be a huge boost for them. They'll have extra food.
Yeah, in Japan, when they got hit by that tsunami, it screwed up a bunch of farmland.
Yeah.
Because it threw all that sodium in there. So a lot of people just turned into,
Yeah.
crab farmers.
Yeah.
But now they can actually go back
It's
and
'cause
be
all
like,
that
hey,
salt,
I have these seeds.
Now they don't have to
You
worry
know?
about all that salt ruining their soil because they're already growing with salty soil and salt. So it's
But what's even cooler is this could mean a lot for space travel, if you think about it.
do you know how much rice we'd have for space? I mean, we just keep growing rice. Earth would just become a rice
I mean, you could have a
sanctuary.
giant fish tank, pull all your nutrients from fish. You know what I mean? And you don't get huge fish in freshwater. So if we could have saltwater grow
You get
food with
huge
the
fish in
saltwater.
freshwater, but I know
Well,
what you're
yeah,
saying.
but you know what I'm trying
Yeah.
to say. You could grow fucking salmon
Yeah.
in a fish tank.
Or
going to, space,
you could
going to,
just do
Mars.
what would make more sense. Those giant groupers, which are the size of you and me combined, and they produce so much waste that the rice would feed off of it like freaking methane gas. It would
Or we
just
could
work.
just grow meat as well.
Oh, are you talking about the scientists that are growing meat with the stem cells of the meat and the
Yeah.
actual cells of the meat?
Yeah, lab grown meat.
We just jumped to a crazy subject, but I like the idea of it, and I like that they're actually doing it. I
Well,
can see
it makes so much
it
sense.
does,
to
but
do.
it's extremely expensive just to make one chicken
As of
nugget
now.
worth. Yeah, as of
As
now.
of now.
As of now. And we all know that as of now. But it's very hard to do. You produce one leather chunk of beef
One
for
leather chunk.
months and months of research.
It's a slow process.
Yeah, but I heard that it tastes like meat. Everybody who's tried it, I've seen them on YouTube. Everybody's gone on YouTube and seen shit.
They say it's relatively close.
It is. I'm sure it's relatively close. It's still meat. It's just
Yeah.
grown organism meat instead of this grew up on a farm meat, which is to me, that sounds a lot cleaner.
And it produces a lot less
Not
waste.
microplastics, no micro feces, no actual real concern of getting sick from eating meat. I
Well,
think
yeah,
that's the
you
cool
don't-
thing about it.
You're not eating meat that's been living in its
Yeah,
own shit
like
for
I said,
6
you said,
months.
yeah, it's not like I said, it's
You know?
feces, fecal, all that shit. You don't want to be eating that, but we do. I mean, there's no I mean, in Las Vegas, the majority of the pigs there are fed off of the casino food that's left over. I don't know if you knew that, but they actually eat like the napkins that are in there, all kinds of stuff. Pigs can eat whatever.
I mean, makes
And we
sense to
eat
me.
those pigs. It does make sense to me, but I feel like
Think about all the
eating
food wasted at those buffets.
it all gets eaten.
Yeah.
By pigs.
I mean, like, wasted, like,
Yeah.
at the buffet.
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
the whole point.
So it makes sense that they would feed it
Yeah.
to pigs.
Yeah.
Smart.
It is smart that before they would just throw it away, but then
Yeah.
they're like, okay, we have to find a way to be able to still keep doing this to be Vegas, but what do we do with all this food? So then they're like, oh, let's just turn it into slop. And they give it to fucking pigs, and then we eat those pigs that's served. So it's basically like a constant recycle. They feed the pigs whatever at the, whatever food's left over. So if there's hot dogs, they will eat hot dogs that day.
See, I feel like that's something that humans are also getting better at currently is recycling
Oh, making
our
pigs
waste.
cannibal.
No, just
Okay.
recycling our waste.
Yeah, I know.
You know
I'm
what I
just
mean?
joking.
Like, we used to fucking dump motor
Well,
oil.
look,
like, on
I'd
roads.
say we're somewhat better at recycling our waste. The U.S. still has a lot of catching up to do. A lot,
Well,
an
of
extreme
course.
amount.
Every country has a lot of catching up to do in some aspects.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean,
but,
I don't want to sound like a weeb, but when I was in Japan, they had like 40 different ways to recycle what I had to like throw away. And it was like one bag of things that I needed to throw away. And I had to go to like 40 different sections of trash cans to throw it away properly. Because they take it that much seriously. But they also use a lot of plastic there and a lot of stuff. So it makes sense. But at the same time, they just have a way better system.
Of course.
Our system is, let's just toss it out of our fucking window onto the highway.
But I'm not even
That's what
just
people
talking
do.
about trash like that.
Yeah, I
just
know.
Waste in general.
Just waste in general, but
You
that's
know,
waste.
It's like you can turn used motor oil back into
Yeah.
motor oil.
We
You
can also
turn used fryer
recycle that
grease
trash
into
properly.
biodiesel, you know?
Yeah, you can also
use
burn
your food
trash.
scraps to feed pigs. You can burn your trash.
Yeah, you
was it
can-
Sweden that did that? I think it was like
we
Sweden.
we still do. Everybody burns their trash, but
Right.
Sweden actually has a
Sweden
real
burned
way of
all their
doing.
trash
Yeah,
and then started burning other people's trash.
yeah, because they ran out of
Yeah.
trash, so they started getting. They get paid to burn other countries' trash
Yeah.
now, which makes perfect sense. Keep burning that trash.
Hell yeah,
And the
man.
way they do it, they don't burn so all the gas just goes straight into the atmosphere. They actually like make sure it's in like a concealed area.
Right, of course.
Yeah, and then there's Hong Kong. There's like, we're getting better at recycling, but we're dumping out 90% of our recyclables into the ocean through a port.
Smart plan, must say.
No, it's just China taking over. I'm sorry. They're the number one producer. Speaking of China, I'm sorry, don't want to shout you out anymore, but they produce more plastic waste than any other country.
I believe
Surprisingly, the U.S. doesn't produce that much plastic waste in the ocean. Because we actually have coast guards that protect it and clean it. And then there's that giant Pacific continent that's bigger than Australia of all trash.
it. Damn.
I flew over that thing. It was like a giant white blob.
It's like a giant white
Yeah, if you
blob.
fly over the Pacific, I'm not even kidding. You know what I'm talking? Like the
Yeah, no, I know what
Pacific
you're
trash
talking about.
continent. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely vile. It's literally a continent of trash.
It's crazy, man.
It's crazy.
It's just the evidence that humans were here.
Yeah, man.
Dude, that's kind of
But
shitty.
yeah,
but-
from salt rice
I mean,
to
dude,
recycling.
When we go back to the moon, I really hope we leave like a fucking like Fuji water bottle. So it's just like humans have been here.
Fuji? You mean Fiji?
Fiji, yeah.
The Fuji water
apples
bottle.
is what I was thinking.
Oh,
Fiji
yeah.
apple. God damn it. A Fiji
You got
water
it.
bottle. We
You
just
got
gotta
it.
leave it on the moon. You know, it's like humans have been here. You know, just fucking soil it.
Exactly. Just eat that meat. But yeah, man, I feel like I don't know. I feel like back to the salt rice. Even that can tie in with waste. I feel like altogether that's going to be a boost.
Well, plus if we can, they will make this work. They plan on rolling out their like pilot areas, like the little things growing rice in the sea. They plan on rolling a few of them at the end of this year, and they plan to have it in full fruition by the end of next year.
Oh.
So by the end of next year, we could
That's
see giant floating islands of
nutty.
nothing but rice.
Nutty.
Nutty indeed.
They call it the rice wars. Everybody's fight over rice.
And then they put AI on them, and then it takes over the world.
Humans versus Humans versus AI rice fields.
It sounds like a great movie, must say.
Does sound like a great movie. Oh man. Yeah, I feel like humans, with as much that's going on in 2020 already, it's only
been a shitty
only
year, like-
February and shit's hit the fan. But hey, at least salt rice is, kind of being there, that transgenic rice is just going to be that morale boost for me to be like, oh, coronavirus is happening. But hey, we got salt rice, boys.
Got rice.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you read
It's a
about
plus.
those two guys turning cacti into leather?
I did not hear about that.
No?
No.
Okay, so these guys found a way to turn cactus into leather. So it's
Oh.
this vegan leather that takes very little
Oh,
water
no.
to make.
Don't label it that.
Well, it is
You've
vegan.
awoken all of them.
I've awoken the vegans, oh god.
They're rising from the ground and grabbing me.
Oh god, there's a
Dear
Whole Foods right
God.
across the street.
Dear
Fucking
God,
run.
I could hear the parade. Anyway, sorry, I digress.
So yeah, they made eco-friendly leather that's vegan, takes way less water, and they even price it the same.
Hey, but they're chopping down my cacti. Just kidding, they probably grow it somewhere.
Yeah.
I would hope so.
They're just walking into the desert.
I mean,
stealing
yeah, that's what they
cactus.
do with the fucking all the fruits and vegetables in the South in South America. They'll just go down there and be like, I can't speak right now. I'm sorry. I'm going to illegally steal these fruits and vegetables. There, I finally was able to get that out. We're having some issues today, but that's okay.
I mean, that happens with a lot of stuff. Where they just illegally steal it. You know what
Yeah, I
mean?
know. That's what I'm saying. Like logging,
Yeah.
pretty much everything in the United States.
Yep. I wonder how many times you've held a piece of paper that may or may not have
I
been
wonder how many
obtained
times that
illegally.
we've done things legally without knowing.
Oh?
I wonder how many times. It makes me question. Probably numerous times.
Probably numerous times.
America.
I mean, if you ever rode a bike on a
America.
sidewalk.
When I was really young, I was riding my bike on a sidewalk and I ran over an old lady. I'm not even kidding. I was like 7 and I crashed into her and she was like, "What the fuck? That hurt so bad." Like I'm being serious. You can ask Dylan. I crashed into this lady so hard, my bike wheel was bent, and then I rode home. I was just like, I was too scared to be like, "I'm sorry," so I just rode home.
Jesus.
Yeah, I was 7. I panicked. I started crying. I was like, "Oh my god, I hurt somebody. Oh my god." Yeah, it's pretty much like that, but you get the gist.
I get the gist, I must
Inpubescent
say.
7-year-old days.
Inpubescent 7-year-old Brandon hitting old women with a bike.
Hey man, I didn't mean to. I was riding like, I don't know, I'd say like way too fast, 20 miles per hour.
You just listen to push.
And I was looking to my right because Dylan was riding, and a few of his friends that we used to hang out with back in the day when we lived there in Denver were following us, and I just wasn't paying attention to who was in front of me. And right when I turned to look, I just heard, "Wah!" Like I just it was like Luigi screaming in Luigi's Mansion, "Wah!" And I just crashed into her, and I just like, smashed the pavement. I caught myself. I was fine. She was not. And then I just rode home.
You know, I gotta be honest. I do kind of miss my like bike riding days.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't miss being a child at all? Like, I mean, dude, I would do anything to not be who I am right now. I mean, that sounds very depressing. What I meant to say is I would do anything to be young again.
Yeah, I think most people would.
Yeah. I
mean,
mean, I
I
know
would
that some
literally
people
kill
want to
to
get
be fine
older
again.
and they're comfortable with, like, I'm comfortable with who I am now. I love it. I love life. But when you're that young, you have no worry about anything except, oh, I'm about to go outside, or oh, I gotta poop, or something like that.
Oh, I
Something
gotta
simple. Yeah, man. It's pure bliss.
I remember
Absolute
being
bliss.
so fucking content just drawing.
Yeah.
And now it's like,
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, I'm gonna like write. I'm a writer in my free time. I like to do creative writing.
When
You know
going
that,
to
but-
school was fun. That's what
Yeah.
being a kid was like.
No.
And
I
then you
used-
become a tween,
I
and
didn't
it's
like
like,
going to school until I was in
fuck.
high school.
Then you fucked up life, buddy. No,
Yeah,
okay.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Mine was
actually
the
enjoyed
exact
school
opposite.
when I was in high school, but
Yeah, mine was opposite.
I fucking hated elementary. I also got bullied, so
Yeah, I feel
that,
that.
I'm sure that was a contributing factor.
But,
to
like,
this.
Can't let a bully affect. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I dealt more with people talking shit in high school than I dealt with people in elementary. In
Oh,
elementary,
yeah.
I was just a little kid.
Elementary school, I got bullied for being fat. In high school, I made jokes
Yeah.
about me being fat. So.
I mean, look, when I was really young, I got told I couldn't wear shorts because I have fucking scrawny legs. I was like, I don't know, 12 at the time, and I was in Estes, and I was like, no, fuck you. I'll wear whatever shorts I want to wear. Like, who the fuck cares what other people think, dog? You
Oh,
just
no,
have to
trust me, I know
put.
that
Yeah, I
now,
know.
but,
I know you know that.
6-year-old me was like, why am I not being accepted?
Hey, me and the boys accepted you. No,
Well, if that's why.
don't
you guys
act like
stuck
we weren't in
around.
elementary school.
I'm not saying I had nobody.
Yeah, man, I just had to call you out.
I mean, I've known you for fucking what, 13
Forever,
years?
dog. Forever. But my
11
point,
years?
my point being, is that, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Now that I think about it, elementary school was pretty hell. But I had an enjoyable time because it was literally just easy work and watching movies the entire time. That was elementary school.
I think if like we were in our like 7-year-old bodies and we got put back in elementary school, we would fucking hate it. You just know the answer.
Well,
to
no
every question,
shit. Our
like,
brains would be, yeah, that would make no sense
just,
because
like,
that would
skip
be
10
horrendous. I wouldn't want the same brain I have now and I would want the brain I had when I was 7. That sounds absolutely horrendous.
Well, you don't want to be stuck in the body
No,
of a 7-year-old with
no.
me, Brandon?
No. Okay, Epstein.
Oh, okay, yeah. Compare me to Epstein.
Epstein, yeah, whatever the fuck.
He had like
That's
a...
you.
I don't remember what the news story was, but he had like a float and like a parade, and everybody freaked out about it. Wasn't like Morocco or some shit.
That's concerning.
Yeah, a little bit.
That's a little concerning.
Yeah, it created like an uproar with it. It was insane, man.
Yeah.
Just saying Epstein didn't kill himself. You know.
When I first like really heard about him, I kept calling him Epstein, and then I looked up his like actual heritage, and he's a Jewish man named Epstein. I was like, okay, that makes so much more sense. I kept calling him Epstein. I'm like, now he doesn't sound like Einstein. I'm happy. As dull as that is, that was genuinely my concern at the time. But now it's like, holy crap, this guy was an evil son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Jinx.
Fuck you.
Now you owe me a Coke, motherfucker.
I don't have any money.
Yeah, goddamn cocksucker.
I'm broke just like you, Chief.
I'm not broke right now, actually.
Oh, damn it, I'm just the only
Yeah,
one
you know
broke
I'm not broke. Semi-broke, halfway. I've actually been putting a lot of money into savings.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
How much money you got in your savings, Brandon?
In savings right now, in my savings account, in my actual bank account, I have no idea. Like probably a lot more than I know. I don't know what's in my savings because that's my mom and dad that opened that.
I have $10
in my
bank account.
At home where I put my money, like the actual cash I'm putting away. I only have 110, but I have a lot more in my wallet that I'm just carrying, which I'm probably gonna just over time put more. I just want to save my money. I don't know.
See, I
have no reason to spend it.
I have like $10 in my bank account. I have $14 invested.
Wow. Big
Robinhood.
flex. Big flex.
Yeah, I lost some money when the
Hey
fucking
man,
stock
look,
market crashed
we'll
in the
be
past 2
rich
days.
in no time with our 1 cent view.
1.5 cents.
1.5 cent.
Per
My
view.
apologies.
You better.
My apologies, folks. I got those numbers just a little wrong.
Brandon, next week when we make a total of 3 cents, you're gonna eat your words.
I already have eaten my words. We got 50 views in like 30 minutes. It's okay, bud. It's okay.
A lot of people.
I mean, to some people that might not be like impressive, but to us that was
really excited for our podcast, man. Like, not even gonna lie to you.
Oh, I know a few people who were.
Oh yeah.
Mostly our mothers.
Oh yeah, our mothers
I feel like
are
those were the
easily
most
gonna
excited
be our biggest
people.
fans.
Yeah,
Like
100%.
That's just completely undeniable.
100%.
But a good mother is always
God
their
damn.
child's biggest fan, you know? And I always find that, like, if I know the person creating the content, I always enjoy it more. You know, if it's just, like, some random dude, I'm just like, I know, it's
I
good
have
content.
a kid, I'm just going to be his biggest arch nemesis. No, I'm kidding. That sounds
I'm just
horrible.
gonna be a dick. Dick to my son.
No.
Or daughter. I don't know. If I even have kids. Who knows?
You're going to have robot children.
Probably.
AI-eccentric beings with your AI robotic wife.
Hell yeah, man. Dude,
Like you told me.
Once they put robotics in like sex robots, dude, I'm 100% gonna buy one.
Oh my god.
I'm going to marry a robot. Because why not?
You heard it here, folks.
If it is passable as like human, at least passable enough to me,
Alright,
why
well,
the fuck not?
It's just going to be really awkward going to your funeral and being like, my friend Alex died from extreme blood loss after his robot wife latched onto his cock and ripped it off. The AI malfunctioned and my boy's gone.
My boy's gone. Do they just like power down the robot at that point?
No, it ripped your dick off and it was malfunctioning. It died on its own.
Oh, okay.
You bled to death.
I bled
and the
to death.
robot ripped off your dick and walked away and malfunctioned. I feel like this is getting a little weird and off topic, but
Hi, Mom.
yeah, man, you get. Hello, this is ASMR here. That was probably really loud.
That was very loud.
I hope they enjoyed.
Rip mic users. Mic users.
Rest in peace, headphone users.
There you go.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think our brains.
Words are difficult.
It's all that coronavirus that we're talking about. I'm telling you, coronavirus. It's getting to us.
Oh my god.
So, other things. Have you heard about the mice diabetes? I mean, that's so, like, what's the right word?
Tell me more about the mice with diabetes. Brandon.
Okay, well, yeah, let me be more specific. Let me not just be so dull. So, researchers, let me because there's a lot of people who've been doing this, but researchers from the University of Texas Health Science Center found a way to functionally cure type 1 diabetes in mice. And this is fairly new. Like, people are super excited about this. So, what they did is boosted insulin secretion in the pancreas with ketogenic diet and exercise, gene therapy, and stem cell research in the mice. And basically, they continued this for a while, and they actually found like a way to functionally stop it. So they basically cured type 1 diabetes in mice. And human clinical trials will begin in the next 3 years. So humans will be tested to see if we can, have the same result with humans. And researchers found that insulin-producing beta cells in the pancreas contain vitamin A receptors, and that blocking them from, secretion. So they can basically change it with gene therapy and stem cells and all kinds of shit.
Now,
It's
I
a
know
lot in roll.
exactly what you're talking about at this point. And this is from the top minds of Reddit, by the way. The functional cure only lasted for about 9 months.
Yeah.
But that's 9 months.
That's a long time for a
Think
mice.
of the improvement
Yeah.
from you needing insulin
compared to
every day
needing a
to 9 months.
pump on you
Yeah.
compared to that would be a lot easier on the human body.
Definitely.
I would think so.
And it takes a lot less, monthly
The thing with
check-ins and
insulin
shit.
pumps and all that other thing and shots and just et cetera, is that one, we know they work, but like sometimes pumps malfunction and they don't get proper insulin.
Plus,
It's
we live in
just all
America
kinds of
where
stuff. Yeah.
insulin's not affordable.
Yeah, it's not affordable whatsoever.
If you have type 1
Yep.
diabetes and you want to survive, have fun taking out
Have
a second
fun.
mortgage on your house.
Yep.
Thanks, capitalism.
Yep.
So,
My younger cousin Tiago has diabetes,
Yeah.
genetic diabetes. It was just in his genes. So it's like, yeah. I
Well-
mean, it just happens.
well, he's in luck with this study.
He's he's
The people who aren't in luck is the people with type 2 diabetes.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
they have functioning pancreatic cells.
I'm pretty sure. I don't know if he has type 1 or type 2, but either way, it's still
Well, type 2 is typically
yeah.
obtained.
But still, it's still a nice thing that they're actually finding out ways to suppress.
Right. Better treatment
Yeah.
options. And even if it does last for 9 months, which, by the way, in a mouse, that's a good chunk of
That's
its
a very
lifespan.
long time.
So who
Mice
knows how it's
don't
going to
live-
affect
yeah.
humans. We've tried to do this in the past, but we didn't have as advanced technology as we have now. So when they were trying to synthesize is kind of the wrong word, but when they were trying to make the pancreatic stem cells, they had the issue of making other organ stem cells. So if you could make like liver stem cells or heart stem cells, and then it wouldn't be as effective. But now that we can really target what's going on, then there's a clear treatment with this. But with all genetic markers like this, it brings up a lot of questions, but also brings up a lot of possibilities.
Of course.
Like the whole discussion about CRISPR-Cas9 and biological editing. Like, at some point, we could obtain immortality.
Yeah.
You could also be
Well,
a fucking,
like-
the equivalent of a JoJo character.
I mean, I guess but
just from genetics.
from genetics, but with the human clinical trials that are going to begin in 3 years with this, like they're like skeptical. They think it'll like work, but the treatment relies on like I was saying stem cells, and basically they have to be like a blank state to be tricked into becoming almost any other type of cell
Right.
in the body. So in this new study, the team improved on the technique it had developed last year when they were trying to do this to produce and introduce these cells into the bloodstream. And when converting the stem cells into another type of cell, there are always mistakes and random cells that enter into the mix. So basically kind of what you're saying.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah. And along with the insulin-producing ones, these cells are basically harmless, but they don't pull their weight. So the more off-target cells you get, the less therapeutically relevant cells you get. And you need about a billion beta cells to cure a person of diabetes. But if a quarter of the cells you make are actually liver cells or other pancreas cells, instead of needing a billion cells, you'll need 1.25 billion. It
Right.
makes curing the disease 25% more difficult than it would be.
Do you know what is kind of crazy, though, about this entire study? We would not have seen anything
Yeah.
even remotely like this 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, was only the year 2000.
Yeah.
20 years
Well,
ago.
like,
It's kind
well,
of
while this is
hard to wrap
happening,
my
we're
head around.
figuring out stem cell research as well. So, like, this new method would rid the sample of those unwanted cells, and they're basically finding, like, a process where they can have a higher percentage of effective beta cells,
Right.
but better functioning ones as well. So, over time, they're learning basically everything about
Do
it.
you remember when it was, like, really fucked up and seen as completely immoral to use any stem cells?
Yeah.
Because we got them from aborted fetuses.
Yep.
So the scientists were like, all right, cool, we'll comply. So they made
Yeah, now
human
you can
chicken
make-
embryos that were 99% human and 1% chicken. They're like, all right, we'll use these for our test. But now we can just create stem cells from any cell in your body. So
And yeah, a
It's-
little bit of blood.
the fact that we found that out and made stem cell research seen as more moral for the people
Yeah.
who are well aware. There are people who are still uneducated and think they all come from babies. But,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, the thing, the thing with these cells is that when they inject them into the mice, the new cells infused with the diabetic cells, and their blood sugar levels stabilize, leaving them, like I was saying, functionally cured.
Right,
For
functional
for up to
cure.
9 months,
Yep.
like you were saying. And granted, it's just an animal trial, but the
Yep.
results shouldn't be interpreted like as a full-on cure for humans. But it's an extremely promising start, and the team plans to continue testing the cells in larger animals and over longer periods with their sights set on human clinical trials. So it has a promising future ahead. I think that it'll only get better from here.
Well, another interesting thing is the rats that they chose, they're born with a biological inadequacy
yeah.
with their insulin production. So it's a little different from typical type 1 diabetes in humans. But at the same time,
Well, yeah,
they got
mice
their blood level,
have
their
different-
blood sugar levels to a literal lethal amount that could kill a human.
Oh God.
And then they got it down to a normal limit in 2 weeks using this method. 2 weeks.
Look, man, people, me and you talked about this earlier, but like, rats are gross, mice are gross, wild, yeah, they're gross. But you cannot deny that without them, we would not have even a quarter of the scientific breakthroughs that we've had with them, because they're a
Million
main
percent.
reason, or a huge reason, that we even can fight diseases and learn about diseases, because we could test on things. And I know it's fucked up, but I mean, mice and rats are the perfect and close DNA bond that we have to test on, especially because of their size. People would be outraged for like, oh, let's go take a chimpanzee and test on them.
A lot of people are against animal testing,
Oh,
but
yeah. I mean, I think
I'd like to bring
everybody
up
should be,
the,
but
the
it-
anthrax
to an extent.
vaccine, the vaccine to
Yeah.
anthrax that they initially created for sheep, because sheep were the ones that were dying
Look,
from it.
I feel like if it took one rat, like, and this might like to people who are like, I don't know, I want to say the R word, but I don't want to be extremely rude, to people who do believe that, I don't know, or like a mouse is worth less than a human just because of its size or because of it's a different life form. It's like I was saying, we share DNA, so it's not like there wouldn't really be any difference between life or death. But if I had to choose, I would pick one mouse dying over saving like millions of people, or like not like saving billions of people because of that mouse dying.
Well, plus humans have an innate superiority
Yeah.
complex to other animals.
But do you get what I'm trying to say?
No, I
like,
100% see what you're saying.
I feel like I'm not saying that one or all these people are more important than that one mouse, but in turn, what would be more important for the Earth? Like,
I mean, what is a mouse going to accomplish? You know what I mean?
It's gonna
Like-
do its instinctual life and die
Yeah.
out, and it's gonna accomplish breeding like every other animal usually tries to do, hopefully. But I feel like just the research with them is enough to say, hey, this is important. It helps us a lot. Without it, we would probably be, in a shithole of trouble.
And in the end, like humans have done a lot of shitty things,
Oh,
Global warming.
Oh, more than a lot. Everything in human history has pretty much
Global
been
warming, war, famine brought on by war, and a lot of other fucked up things. that
human
humans have
nature in
committed.
general.
But at the same time, humans have also done amazing things. You know, we've done some amazing things. We've made some amazing feats.
Some amazing things. You're
And
right.
there's just so many more to come. So
I would hope
if we can support the survivability of humans with the little bit of exception of death from some animals, in my opinion, worth it. PETA, you can come after me. Fucking go for it. But
PETA is
a terrorist
legitimately
organization?
retarded. I'm sorry, I had to drop one R-bomb because you brought up PETA. It had to happen. It had to happen. I know nobody actually cares, but like I feel like PETA is one of those activist groups that really don't know what they're doing.
No.
They try to like show themselves to be this wonderful like brand name of rescuing animals. No, they do the exact opposite. In fact, they've gotten caught for abusing animals.
I think like 80% of the animals that they, in quotes, save
End up dying,
or
yeah.
being put down. Like there was that girl, they took a dog away from a little girl and then fucking put down the dog. Like what the hell? Like why?
PETA, like I said.
Like PETA, come on.
You already know what I was going to say, but that's fucking PETA. They are, they're just... I can't find another word for than simply they're just dumb. I don't know.
Idiocracy.
Their whole it's they're what they like spew out into the media is genuinely toxic, and then you see the amount of people who are like, "Oh my god, PETA, you're my hero." It's like, no.
I feel like I can't even say that their heart's in the right place.
Well, because they're completely false advertisement. Like they claim to be this wonderful like sanctuary thing like for animals, and they ask for all these donations and get all these donations from fucking kooks, and then they like I don't know, they just do the exact opposite. They don't even actually take care of the animals. They just go to places, protest about the animals, and don't actually do anything about them.
Well, that's PETA for you. You know, it's like with these organizations, a lot of times they push things that seem like that makes their heart look in the right place, but it's not. You know, and this happens all the fucking time. This is what happens in cults.
Yeah, folks.
Look at...
we getting heated now.
Look at the fucking cults of the past
and
the shit that they tried to spread.
There's more than cults in the past. There's many cults in the U.S.
And there's
still.
many organizations that push the same thing. Oh, our heart's in the right place, so fucking support us financially. Yeah. And then they steal the money and run for the fucking hills.
Yep.
It's happened over and over and over and over
it's
and over again.
Now.
And it's a good money-making strategy, and that's what makes it so fucked up.
Trump administration. Quite literally, I'm sorry, don't want to be political, but it's happening right now.
But, I mean, just look at it, you know?
Yeah, dude, it's fucking nuts.
Is the level
Beyond
of meat
nuts.
being consumed good? No.
No.
We need to cut down meat.
No. But actually, here's the thing.
Absolutely.
Meat consumption... I feel like Americans have a major problematic issue with portion sizes.
Of course.
And I can just say this because of experience. Because I've seen like in other countries' meal preparations compared to the U.S. And it's just like, dear Lord, absolutely insane.
But it's just nuts, man. It's fucking nuts. You know, and it's like, yes, we do need to cut down on meat consumption because one of the biggest producers of greenhouse gases is animals, it's livestock. And it takes a lot of water to raise livestock.
More greenhouse gases are actually produced by the vegetable industry, like up in the, I would say, northern East Coast region of the United States, where they grow a lot of agriculture. There's a huge, just from the like mechanical process of collecting, it's 10 times more than cow burps and like what that produces.
Really?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, read it up. And I'm not saying that meat production is good, because no, the U.S. by far overconsumes meat, and it's a main portion of why greenhouse gases are like a major issue because of livestock. But compared to the mechanical processing and the amount of stuff they go through just for agriculture, it produces a lot more greenhouse gases. Like, by like a lot. A huge percentage.
There's always the ability to find a green way, though.
There is always the
ability. I feel like it would be a lot more easy
to
find a completely green way to produce vegetables and fruits than it would be to
Well, there
create
is
meat.
no complete green way. The complete green way would be hand picking everything. That's just not going to happen.
Batteries. It's not completely
That's,
green,
people
but it's
think
much,
batteries
much
are
greener.
green, but it's not.
Much greener, though.
You dispose that battery, and that battery becomes a metric bomb that's going to explode. So it's like, no, not
But
really.
you can create a process.
Yeah, you
to
can
reuse
create a process
batteries.
to reuse the battery if you're not a moron and a human being who disposes of the battery improperly, which is what we do. We don't know how to properly dispose of things.
Yet.
Still,
I mean,
I don't think we ever will. We've been given humans have been given the opportunity numerous times, especially in the U.S. They just don't want to pay for it.
Well, of course. I mean, that's the shitty
Yeah.
part. People do throw away
People
double
don't give a
A's.
fuck.
But I'm speaking like massive like car batteries that could be reutilized.
Yeah, I know.
And all
Most
that.
people throw those in the ocean. I'm not even kidding.
And I mean, you could even make vehicles that run on different sources.
Yeah, people
know.
throw car batteries in water.
Yeah,
I don't know
people do
why
some
that's a
fucked up
fucking
things.
thing, but it's like a huge thing. Especially on the East Coast. They'll be like, I need a new battery, I'm gonna go fucking toss in the ocean. Like, why? I don't understand why. Like, I don't know if it's, human ignorance or something, but we're vile, disgusting.
It's a mix of a lot
We're
of
a
things.
cancer to the earth.
It's laziness. It's not being well informed. It's
Being spoiled by
being
society.
spoiled by society.
Capitalism spoiled us.
Consumerism.
Yep,
You know.
consumerism. That's
I
yeah.
have
There
no
we go.
issue with
That's literally all you have
consumerism
to
or
say.
capitalism.
Neither do
Honestly-
I. But consumerism is the downfall of human life, human health,
But it's
human greed.
consumerism. Oh wow, we're really getting kind of political here.
Hey, man,
but
it's okay.
consumerism is just it's so fascinating to me. You know, it's like we took all these holidays that people used to see as holy and sacred, and we made them about consumerism. Fucking Christmas is a great example. It is not a religious holiday anymore. Not to say it can't be treated as such, right? But in the general public, Christmas has become a
It being a
consumeristic
religious holiday was the beginning and end of it becoming a money thing. That was the entire purpose of it, if you
Right.
read into it. But hey, I love me some Christmas gifts. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's the interesting thing though, is that we have completely changed.
Our
the
minds
entire
are
meaning of
programmed.
holidays.
Yeah,
You know,
we expect
and nobody
things.
thinks about it. Nobody really thinks about it. It's like I grew up.
Well, people think about it, they just don't want to change it.
Right, like I grew up with a Christmas where I got gifts.
Yeah.
You know, we were big consumerists back then. I would get a shit ton of gifts.
Yeah.
I was a spoiled little fucking brat. You know, not so much now, but you know, things change. Whatever.
But yeah, we were.
It was never a religious holiday for me. Never.
Yeah, never for me
My
either.
family was not religious. But we still celebrate Christmas, which is a Christian holiday.
Well, it's become a world holiday. The entire
Yeah.
world celebrates it. And they're not even. Some people aren't Christians, and they still celebrate it.
But that's the success of it. Because Christmas itself is sold as a product. You know what I mean? It's sold to people.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, it's fucking
Like
Christmas.
it's a Christian holiday in the sense that like other people that aren't Christian won't celebrate it.
Well, it's the root
But
of it.
I have no beliefs whatsoever in religion, and I still follow suit of the holidays because it's America, consumerism.
Yeah.
Like you said, like
That's
I
what
don't
I'm
know,
saying.
it's just life.
Christmas itself is sold as a product to the market.
Same with
You
Thanksgiving.
know? And it's a fucking marketing strategy. If you look at Walmart's numbers, they make more money in the holiday season than they do at any other time.
Thanksgiving, Halloween, all holidays are basically that aren't like like Martin Luther King holidays and stuff like that. Those are just normal, nice day holidays. You don't have to go buy shit, but
Right.
those holidays
Because
are
nobody's
designed
marketed
during certain times of the year for you to buy certain things.
Valentine's Day is a
Mhm.
great example.
Candy.
Candy, chocolates, flowers.
All
I'm sure the
types of
fucking
stuff.
flower industry loves it.
The flower industry, it's actually, of course they love it, but it's really sad because they have to get all those flowers from South
I wonder
America.
if the flower industry makes more off of weddings each year or more off of
They
Valentine's
make more
Day.
off of Valentine's Day.
Because I know, have you ever like read up into the wedding industry?
Yeah.
It's fucked up. It is like, it has nothing to do with actual weddings. Until we saw the way that like the rich people and like the wealthy and like the important people in Europe were doing their weddings, people were like, oh yeah, I want to do my wedding like that. And it's like for the exact same
Like
thing.
how the lawn started?
It is like you can do the exact same thing for a party of the same amount of people, like a birthday party,
Yeah.
for like 10 times less price than a wedding. And you can get all the exact same stuff. It's fucking ridiculous because the second you throw the word wedding out there, it's like, hey, I'm gonna overcharge you.
Gonna overcharge you.
I'm gonna make a fuck ton of money off of you. Have a good day, sir. Hope
Weddings
you
are
enjoy your fucking
interesting.
expensive wedding.
Weddings are interesting for sure.
Shit, I'm in the wrong industry.
It's like how everybody has like a lawn nowadays. I mean, not every human, but like in the U.S., a lot of people have lawns. So
especially in Colorado,
yeah,
fucking suburbia.
Oh god, yeah. I mean, most of the Midwest is just, I'm a suburban guy. That's literally the entire
It's kind
Midwest.
of the nice thing, though.
But it's no, not at all. But no,
I like suburbia.
That just breeds. That literally just
Incel
breeds
violence?
racial tension between the entire world. Like no, basically incel. No, but what?
Getting back into incel violence.
God damn it! Yeah, you fucking distracted me.
All right, what were you gonna say?
I don't
Brandon?
remember.
Oh.
I genuinely don't remember.
Well, we were talking about holidays and their
Yeah.
commercialization
Yeah,
and
just,
consumerism.
I genuinely lost my thought when we started talking about incels. I do not remember, and I'm kind of upset because I was gonna say
Brought back some
something.
flashbacks.
Well, I was gonna say something, and then you were like incel violence, and I had like flashbacks of like protests going on in my head. I was like, oh no.
The world's fucked right now, man. It's
Have you?
just
Hey,
fucked.
hey. This might sound weird, maybe a conspiracy like, but haven't you noticed there hasn't been any news on all of the Hong Kong protesting whatsoever
When we were
since the
talking about
coronavirus?
China, I wanted to bring that up, but I didn't know if you knew anything about
Just listen.
what's happening now because I don't know anything that's happening.
Nobody
now.
does. That's the thing. That's what I'm saying. A lot of people are. Someone on Reddit posted that, and he's like, "Don't you think it's really kind of weird and strange that there has been absolutely no news about Hong Kong after all those weird truck things drove in and tanks,
Yep.
and the coronavirus started?" So it's like, what the fuck is
I
going
think-
on?
I
Did
think-
everybody just?
Partially.
Well, no,
it's
I did hear
due-
that a Hong Kong protester attacked a coronavirus station. I did hear that, but I
What?
haven't heard any noise. Yeah, they attacked like the actual. Dude, what do you mean? What
No,
they've been
I
doing
didn't see
crazy?
that.
Oh, you didn't hear that? Yeah,
Dude,
they've been doing
I
protests.
honestly
like-
haven't seen anything on Hong Kong in
Yeah,
like
here, I'll
a couple
show you.
months since 2020.
Yeah,
about.
only saw one thing. I saw this a few days ago. It just got back to me here.
See, I think part of it's definitely due to the internet's innate ability to just move on. You know what I mean? Like because of meme culture, we grasp onto something for a couple of weeks and then we move on. And that was kind of what it feels like happened with Hong Kong. Not to say that everybody's just forgotten, but like in the long run, that's just kind of what happens.
Yeah.
And that's what just
So-
happens on the internet.
There hasn't been much coming out, which is really freaky, but basically in Hong Kong, citizens are just more mad about it, and they've been attacking places that are like, what's it called, where they're being treated.
Like quarantine.
Yeah, quarantines. A protester, attacked a quarantine.
Jesus.
A straight up he just ran into the coronavirus quarantine with Molotovs. Just like they were doing with the police with Molotovs. Instead, they went into the actual quarantine and just started throwing Molotovs at the building. And they had to evacuate it. So they could have gotten it infected. More people infected.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really haven't heard anything about Hong Kong since about 2020. Maybe like the very beginning of 2020. I heard a thing or
It
two.
was the very beginning, yeah. That was the last thing.
But seriously,
Anything
like,
else.
I think it's just because of meme culture.
What?
No, not necessarily because of meme culture, but I think
No,
like, the impact,
that's not why.
I think
There's
like
no-
the impact that memes
No.
have had on the
I don't
attention
think
span.
meme has anything to do with why no news is coming out of Hong Kong. One, the last thing that was like, there's a whole virus thing going on right now. I don't
Right.
think news sources are in Hong Kong or China right now even reporting on it. Some places are in China, but you see those news and they're really like taking precautions to do it.
Right. Well, and you got to be careful being a journalist in China.
exactly.
So, it's a big issue just doing any of this stuff.
Yeah.
But you see what I'm saying, though? It's just such a fucking big issue being a journalist in pretty much any part of Asia right now.
Oh, yeah. Like, well, jumping back to the coronavirus real quick. Chinese journalists were disappearing by the minute.
Oh.
Like, I'm not, no joke. Like, people, like, even, like, families here were concerned because they had, friends and journalists in China who were disappearing. And most of them were sent home. But the Chinese journalists who were in Wuhan doing reports are just gone.
Yeah.
They don't know where's, like, some of them are just disappearing, and people are like, whoa. And, you know, this is just classic China.
That's just what China does.
This is what
'Cause
they
that was
do
happening
to
during
people who,
the Hong Kong
like,
protests
yeah,
as well.
people, you need to know, communism means no free speech. It means no free speech. And not, like,
When you're treated like a criminal for reporting criminal activity,
yeah.
the government's a criminal.
When you're treated, no, they're being treated like a criminal for reporting a activity about a disease that could potentially infect the entire world if it got to that point. I mean, obviously, I think we would have it under control, but
Yeah.
it's not under control when a country is withholding all of the information, only giving out estimates, so you don't actually know how many people are dying, and aren't letting journalists tell the real news. So it's like, that's so fucking dirty. What's actually going on? It must be. It has to be worse than what we think it is if they're doing all that.
Oh, of course.
Like,
But I don't know. I feel like that's part of what big government does, though.
yeah.
They kind of try to cover up some shit, and then it's like, well, obviously it's much worse. But sometimes, you know, they cover up things. Definitely not like this, though. Definitely not like this. You don't cover up a virus like this.
You don't cover up anything like that.
I was going to bring up what happened in Roswell, New Mexico for some reason. That just kind of popped in my mind from, like, government intervention and government cover-up. But that wasn't bad. You know, everybody's like, holy fuck, it's a UFO. But then they released the documents,
just 'cause they didn't want
and
people.
it was a weather satellite.
Yeah.
It was a weather balloon.
Back then, they just didn't want people to fucking go
weather
crazy.
balloon, in quotes. What it actually was that we were in a specific pressure zone that was trying to detect frequencies because we found out it happened underwater. And then we're like, hey, maybe it's easier to put in the air to detect if, nukes are coming our way or something.
At least they kept it properly secret.
Yeah, I mean, there's like,
China's
hey,
just
hey,
like,
New Mexico,
it gets
fuck off.
leaked,
Nothing
man.
happened here. Go
It
home.
just gets leaked.
Yeah, this shit gets leaked. People die, you know. It's fucked up. It's really fucked up. Like,
Beyond.
It's scary. It's scary too, you know. Like, China has been a big thing. Asia has been a big thing as of recent. You know, because you had the trade embargo, and then you had everybody fucking freaking out about, like, the debt and shit. And then you had Hong Kong, which has now become the big topic of the coronavirus. And that's why I brought up meme culture earlier. And by meme culture, I basically just mean, like, the internet. You know, like Reddit is a great example of this. You know, you stick to one thing for a little while, and then something changes, and that's the next big thing. You know, it was Hong Kong, and then that all slowed down, and then people jumped to the coronavirus. And that's kind of where we are now. You know, we're still in the pits of the coronavirus memeage, you know, and that's kind of like the timeline of what's happening on the internet right now, especially on Reddit. But that always happens on Reddit with everything. So, that's just how it is. And it sucks, you know, because
It does.
a lot of people do just use these platforms to try and be well informed, but you change so often that you can miss it with a fucking blink of the eye.
Yeah. That's true.
It's too true, you know. And that's just kind of how everything's becoming. We have a shitty attention span now because, you know, you don't have, like, commercials on TV. You just have TV. You know,
Like,
you can use your phone. You can
as
do
a
whatever.
kid, I grew up, or at least I think we grew up in this, like, era where the beginning of our childhoods was actually toys, going outside for some part of it, and then, you know, like, being kids, and then we leaped into that flip phone era, into the BlackBerry era, and then to smartphones. And what I'm worried about with this new generation coming up is you see these kids, this education system is horrible in the U.S. already, and you see these kids that are, the first thing they get passed to them when they're a little kid is this, like, tablet, touchscreen phone, and they use their thumb, and that's all they learn how to do. Well, there's kids who can't even write properly because they don't have the hand dexterity to hold a pencil and write at the same time. I'm not even kidding. Imagine not having the muscle dexterity to not hold a pencil and write a word. They couldn't even teach the kids to hold the pencil because they didn't have the dexterity to hold a pencil.
See, we didn't really get hit with the technological, like, advancement of just, like, completely until we were about
Well, they're not
second
even
grade.
getting really hit with it. It's the fact that parents are
Right,
giving
like, now
these
they're
kids
just being born
devices.
into it.
Yeah.
But I'm saying me and you were
Yeah.
hit with it back in, like,
I
2007,
feel like, though, if we
2008.
knew were to have children, I don't necessarily plan on it for a long time or at all. Sometimes I think about it. I don't know. It's a tough topic for everybody. I feel like if we were to have kids, we would raise them so they wouldn't be constantly fucking latched onto technology, at least until they're old enough to make that decision for themselves.
See, and this shit always happens.
Yeah.
It always happens. When the TV came out, it was the babysitter.
Mhm.
You know, you stuck your kid in front of the TV, and that's what they did. And there were parents who were like, well, that's obviously not the smart thing to do. You
Yeah.
need to raise your fucking kid. And now the same thing's happening with technology. You know, you can stick your 2-year-old with a fucking tablet, and they know how to use a tablet.
Yep.
You know, and they fucking, they watch YouTube videos, or they fucking play games.
But-
typically YouTube videos.
But they can't write it with a pencil.
No.
And that, to me, breaks my heart. Because it's like, look, they're learning these devices, but it's scary like that. They can't even write a sentence because they can't hold a pencil. Like, dude, that's not okay for human brain growth. That can't be okay for human development. I can see the plus sides of certain app store games and the brain function, maybe cognitive, but even then it gets to the point where there's only so much information. It's like those devices are basically a second portion of you. Whether you like it or not, that device has your collective information about you, your own decisions to put on there. Everything on most people's phones are critiqued to what they want it to be. So it's basically another version of you, another piece of you, and these kids don't necessarily know that.
And that's why Instagram can be so fucking depressing.
Yeah.
Because nobody posts their failures on social media. Why would you? You know, if you're a goddamn failure, you know, well that's really harsh. But, you know, if you go on social media, then you go on Instagram. Instagram's a good example because it's always just like models and people being like, I have this fucking crazy lifestyle, you know? They give this image that they're out there doing this shit 24/7, living this extravagant life, but in reality, they're just as sad as the rest of us.
Yep.
And it makes it worse.
It does.
If you go on Twitter is a different fucking dynamic.
Oh my god.
You know, there's more
Tumblr.
anonymity on
Yeah.
Twitter, so a lot more people are willing to be like, I shit my pants
And
today.
with Twitter,
you know what I mean?
you don't really get
Now,
any light of day unless you're like super popular.
Reddit is a great example of the other way around. Now, I don't want to be that guy that's just like pandering, you know.
Yeah, I feel
but
you.
With Reddit, you know, there is almost 100% anonymity. You know, not as much as like 4chan
Yeah.
per se. But, you know, it still gives you that barrier to be like, hey, nobody I know is going to know this is me, so I can share the story
Yeah.
about that time I shit my pants.
I mean,
you know?
I don't look. The one thing I recently learned, I disagree with Reddit on a lot of things. One, the fact that they're making it so that people can get banned for upvoting things that Reddit doesn't agree with.
Well, that's
That's
thanks
like,
to the
okay,
Chinese
China
overlords.
Reddit. Yeah, I
Yep.
was about to say.
They got bought out by a Chinese company or something like that. Now
Really?
Now they're kind of switching up their morals, you know, and morals.
Because that's not terrifying. That
No.
a big giant, one of the biggest multicultural platforms
one
used
of the
by
most connected chat
Yeah.
boards on the internet.
in the U.S., mind you, is being fucking monitored by the Chinese. That's fucking concerning, dude.
Yeah.
That's not okay.
No,
Like, I don't want to
remember-
be a dick and be like, oh, I don't want a Chinese company running that. But, dude, it's been proven that they look into our information. They're going to look at our accounts information, our birth dates, our just overall information. We do the same to them.
Yeah.
We do the same to them.
100% sells our data, 100% monitors whatever the fuck we're doing. and
Yeah.
They have the ability, and they utilize the ability to be like, hey, we own this fucking platform, and you cannot post what you don't like on here. And that happens all the fucking time. There's a subreddit called Watch Reddit Die. And that's the beauty of it. You know, of course, there's always some
Watch
beauty of
Reddit
it.
die.
There is some freedom of speech there, you know, and it all comes down to the moderators of specific subreddits. And those people can be corrupt as fuck. You
Yeah,
give anybody
of course.
power, and they will corrupt.
Of course.
You know, so they'll go on, and if they don't agree with it, they'll delete it. You know, like there has been several threads that have been pictured
Kinda like
being
TikTok.
deleted. You know, but the other issue is that the moderators of Reddit themselves will delete shit they disagree with,
Mm-hmm.
and they have done that. You know, and some of the shit that they've deleted, I
Doesn't make
disagree
any
with
sense.
personally, but people should have the open conversation to be able to talk about it.
Look, I get certain things. Like, there's certain things that shouldn't be brought up in public and certain things that shouldn't be brought up at family events. But there are certain things that should be allowed to be brought up at any time when you want to bring them up. Because some things are important to talk about. No matter you like it or not, some things you have to, like, I don't know, have a conversation about, and that's one of them.
Agreed. And
The sanctity of human rights is a huge thing that needs to be talked about. Obviously it is, but there's nothing you can really do about it when you're stuck in a country that will, I don't know, harvest your organs if you make one wrong comment.
But the other thing about Reddit, though, is they do remove things
Not talking
that
about the US.
should be removed. But they also remove a lot of things that shouldn't be removed. And some of it's stupid to remove.
Yeah.
Some of it makes sense.
It's like I was getting to.
If you know what I'm talking about here,
freedom
the
speech.
precursor to Hydro Homies. Won't say the name.
God.
But, they removed that subreddit, and people got pissed, so Hydro Homies was created. And then, they've just removed shit here and there. The Donald got removed. I don't remember why. I know some of it was just because people were being extremely blatantly racist.
Yeah.
Which should not be doing
I can
on the
agree
internet.
with that getting removed.
But it's going to happen on the internet,
Yeah. That guy, like, I don't know. I feel like with this, I don't know, the internet is creating a lot of new, different social norms for humans that weren't here years
100%.
ago.
And it's made it easier for people to find like-minded individuals.
It's made it easier for people to also be very, very cruel to others.
Oh, of course.
That's just the internet. I get that, but like,
I'm just waiting
holy
for us to
shit.
get cyberbullied in the comments on here. So
I hope so.
It's gonna happen.
I hope
it's
we
gonna
do.
be fucking funny.
Can't wait to read those comments. Be like, yeah, oh, man, that's what I desire.
It's just so fucked up that people go on the internet and they enjoy making somebody feel bad about themselves.
That's called they feel bad about themselves so much that they don't even realize it.
Exactly. It's just your typical bullying
Like,
through
if
another
any
medium.
human being who finds enjoyment out of antagonizing another human being, or even just slightly making them annoyed because you think it's funny to make them annoyed, or I don't know, bring up something that they personally don't want brought up, just things like that people do. I feel like people who do that for enjoyment are sick fucks. They have
100%.
something something wrong in their heads if they can, naturally do that. Because there are a lot of people in this world who will just do that naturally and do it. It's like, what's wrong at home? What's wrong at home? That's what I question. Is like, what made you want to be so? Not you. I'm just saying people who are like that. What made them want to be that way or act that way? It's obviously deep-seated something that happened to
And
them.
what
So
makes
it's
it even worse is since the internet is an open conversation most of the time, it gives people confidence to come
Yeah.
out about things that you wouldn't typically talk about. Good example is Terry Crews when he brought up his sexual misconduct stuff.
yeah.
When, I don't remember the exact story, but like somebody walked up and just grabbed his dick right in front of his wife. And he was like, that was sexual assault.
Yeah.
And people fucking freaked out on him. Hey, you're a big man.
Yeah.
Why are
And
you
it's
being
like,
a little baby?
what? Look.
If he hit the person who did that, he would have been fucked.
I agree 110% that socially women have it harder, because they have to deal with. I can imagine being a girl and walking past a group of 10 guys in the middle of the night and how fearful I'd be just by walking by. That feeling would be horrible, not being able to just walk home. But it's very, very tragic, and I find it disgusting that not just women but other men and people in general will isolate men into keep holding their feelings and being like, hey, it's weak to it's like you'll see a guy if a girl's crying, that's an instant, oh my god, I'm so sorry, I need to help them. If a guy's crying, it's not an instant reaction to help them. It's like, well, why is this bitch crying right now?
Yeah.
It's and it's sad that that's a natural reaction unless you're dear friends. That makes sense. But even then, some humans will just be like, I find that weak or something like that. And it's like, no. What's weak is not letting somebody actually show what's going on. That's how people kill themselves and die, when
so
they're not
many
allowed to
people-
show their feelings.
So many people just gloss over men's issues, and some of them don't even gloss over it.
Yeah.
They just straight up, fuck you, you have to be
Folks,
tough, you're
we,
a man.
We jumped into a depressive conversation, but
Well,
I
no,
think
we can
mental
go-
health.
we can go depressive with this,
that's
you
what I'm
know?
saying. That's what I'm
And
saying.
it's-
Like I was saying, I think
it's all
mental
fucked
health.
up,
I
you
think
know?
mental health is an important topic that, especially men, should be talking about more because, I catch myself obviously not even considering it as much as I probably should at sometimes, and it's like I feel like it's okay for people to seek help if you need it.
I think the dynamic's definitely changing a little bit, but
It's definitely changing, but it's slowly.
a good example.
It's also not, because it's still. It's becoming this race-free equality, but that equality instantly ends when it comes to a man's feelings. People completely throw that aside and disregard that thought process entirely just because they think a man should be 100% stronger. And yeah, it makes sense that a guy would be able to dull his pain and shit like that. That's human nature for people nowadays, but it's not okay. That's not a normal thing. That doesn't make it okay. It's just it's sadly become our nature to do that in the United States, for the most part.
Yeah, it's a big issue in the United States.
In the United States.
It's not even like trying to undermine anybody's issues, but we should
It's just
be
the
able
complete
to.
ignorance of
It's
it.
ignorance,
Yeah.
and it's just complete underminement.
Yeah,
you know,
you
there's
just
a completely undermining.
Yep.
This
There's
shit.
just no.
You know,
I don't
kids,
know.
men can
The
be
right-
sexually assaulted. Men can be sexually abused. Men
People
can be
don't
raped.
believe in that.
No, they
either.
don't believe in that. It's fucked up.
I've never personally been. Well, I can say that I've been in an experience where I've had a girl touch me and I didn't want her to, and I wasn't mad at it. But if that was the other way around,
yeah.
that would be jail. That would be something extremely, extremely not okay that the entire public would shine upon. But if I came out, and obviously I wouldn't because I didn't have a problem with it, but if I actually did and came out and was like, oh my god, this girl touched me. Oh my god, they'd be like, you're a man. What do you mean she touched? I'm like, dude, you obviously don't know what it's like to be taken advantage of. That's just because you're a dude and you have the physical power over somebody doesn't mean you can't be assaulted.
Of course.
Like, I feel like how the word ignorance just ties into that so well, because everyone has ignorance. I feel like we should keep it to the standard that we all should be treated the same, no matter what gender, race, identity.
Yeah, trauma is trauma.
Trauma's trauma. Mentally, physically, it's there. It's there. It's not gonna be different depending on who you are. I mean, it will be, but it's not gonna change the effect it has on you, how painful it is. You can't just change that unless you actually accept the fact that, oh wow, I am enduring something traumatic.
But I think on an upside, on an uplifting note, I think the idea towards it's definitely changing a little bit.
Oh yeah, it's on the plus side. Society is definitely accepting it. Countries are accepting people's beliefs just to be human. I mean, some. Like we said, some countries are, but
Some countries are backwards.
Yeah, but that's the human stigma of life. I don't know how else to put it besides ignorance. That's the overall term for everything, I guess. That is our reasoning for being in such a shithole, is that we have ignorance for every subject, not just men's health, for basically everything, even politics. And I know people don't like to get political, but it's important. And when you just say, I don't feel like voting because no one else, it's like, you might think that one might not matter, but if everybody else jumps on that bandwagon like they have been, it's just sad. Like, I don't know if you knew this, Iraq and Afghanistan have better voting percentages than the entire United States combined. Better, which means more people in this underdeveloped country that's being bombed every day is voting more than our own society, because we're just so lazy.
Well, plus I think another big issue with people throwing away their votes is if you look at the stigma with green parties and the yellow party and all that, they get no coverage.
Look,
so people don't really look into them.
It definitely sucks that there's only two sides, but we don't have a choice.
Well, and then people have the idea that if I vote for this other party, I'm throwing away my vote. But millions of people have that idea.
Exactly, so that's what...
You know what I mean? It creates this, idea.
And that's how the wrong people win. That's how the
Exactly.
wrong people get in office.
So it's not that if you voted for them, you're throwing away your vote. It's that everybody else thinks they're throwing away their vote, so you shouldn't vote for them.
Yeah.
And isn't that fucked up?
Well, it's like I said, it comes to terms with the fact that the United States only goes after two sides, Democratic and Republican. This entire fucking country is a hotbed of diversity, yet you would think that we'd have some moral fucking compass of that diversity around us. You'd think that everyone in public would have this acceptance for the diversity. But no, it's the exact opposite. If anything, we're just getting split by the minute. We become more split. Because diversity is an important part of America and the country it is. And I feel like that just becomes completely, just forgotten.
It's definitely creating a divide socially.
Yeah, it's a divide.
Like, if you look at the 2016 elections, people were literally fucking fighting.
Killing each other.
Like,
people died. People died.
It's like these people were fighting for their fucking emperor. You know what I mean? Like, they're like in the fucking battlefield attacking each other. There was a dude with a fucking bike
And imagine
lock.
those are the people who actually went and voted.
Yeah.
The calm ones are the ones who are sitting at home who don't care who should go vote.
And it's fucked up.
It is fucked up, but the world's fucked up.
Yeah, I that's fair. The world is definitely not.
Humans
in a
have a
great
weird
place.
way of living.
I mean,
This is
we're in a
our
decent place,
instinctual way of living. Doing a podcast, this is human instincts.
but- Yes.
And then there's a
It's in
monkey
our
right now
genes.
picking its ass, clapping some cheeks, doing real life monkey things, and we're just over here doing a pod. That's human instincts. That
It's
right
true.
there is an example of human ignorance. I'm kidding.
It's true. It's true. Let me tell you. But no, man. I mean, it's wild.
It's 100% wild.
It's just wild.
Oh man, it genuinely makes me tired.
Well, you're tired. I'm tired. I need a little bit more coffee in me. We're at the 1 hour 21 minute mark.
Oh, the huge.
The huge.
Yeah, last time we got to 122, I believe. I think we should-
122.33, I believe.
Yeah, I think we should keep it around the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think an hour.
Don't want to
20.
overdo it. I'm pretty sure to the people who have made it this far, their brain's already corroded to a certain amount. They've already lost a certain amount of brain cells. I think we should keep it at that
I don't
level.
know, Brandon. I think we had a good
Oh, I'm sure.
discussion
Yeah, I'm
today.
sure we had a good discussion.
We had a decent
We had an
discussion.
amazing discussion. I'm just saying to the people listening, I'm sure that they're just like, holy shit, guys. Do you guys think about anything that's not tragic events? Well, sorry, this was the tragic event week, boys
We talked about sea rice.
and girls.
Okay. And a potential vaccine for the coronavirus.
that was the joke. That's why I said, hey, it's important to talk about world topics. I feel like it was important to bring up the
It was a
coronavirus
good
because why not?
discussion.
Yeah.
Thank you for conversing
Yeah,
with me, Brandon.
thank you for conversing
Ladies
with me.
and gentlemen, if you have made it to the end of the podcast, I would like to thank you for viewing us.
So long, folks.
So long, folks.